So in this today's demo session, basically we will cover up some of the few topics related to the Azure DevOps. Okay, what is meant by Azure DevOps? Then some of the few topics why Azure DevOps is required in the IT industry. Okay, so here what is different topics we will discuss today. Why DevOps needed? And advantages of DevOps. Okay. Comparison of Azure with other cloud platforms. Okay, so now we will discuss one by one what is DevOps, why the DevOps is needed in IT industry. Okay, then what are the advantages of using DevOps basically, right? And comparison between the Azure DevOps with other technologies like AWS and other cloud platforms like Google Cloud and all, right? So now what is meant by DevOps? Basically the DevOps is, it is a process where people work together and they will deliver working software, and they will be providing some of the working software or product to the client at the end of the day. So that is the DevOps features basically. Okay. Now in terms of the project, when any project comes to the organization, okay, we'll take some example. Any company, let's take an example of TCS. Okay, so if any organization has taken the project from the client, okay, now a client is what we can say Facebook. You can take, right? Facebook application. If you take, if any Facebook application approaches the TCS company for developing the application for them, so TCS, they have to do all the software development lifecycle processes. So what are the steps they will do basically here when any project comes to the project? Planning will be there. Then after planning, design, they will do the design. Then coding. After coding, what they will do? Testing. After testing, deployment will be there. Then monitoring. Okay, monitoring, planning in the sense, as soon as the project comes to the team, then they will estimate how many resources are available, whether the technical expertise is available in our team or not, according to the technology which they are going to use for the application. So based on all those things, they will be planning, right? Coming to the designing, all the requirements gathering, then maintaining the flowcharts and algorithms. What are the what kind of algorithms they are going to use, what kind of design patterns they wanted to use. So all those design level things will be architected, right, by the architecture people. Now once the design is done, it comes to the coding basically. So in the coding, what happens, any of the developers are in the team, they will implement the features and they will deploy the code into servers, right? Now once it has been moved from coding, the testing team will be testing the application thoroughly, right? Thoroughly in the sense, the client requirement will be there, thorough requirement for each and every step. So some of the multiple test cases will be there, positive and negative test cases. So all those scenarios and all, it will be tested by the testing team, right? So when it will be testing, if the application is working fine, then it will be moving it into multiple server environments. So the server environments is nothing but here basically there are mostly environments will be there. Okay, one is dev environment. Okay, another one is QAT, then VAT environment, then production, right? So these are all some of the environments are available. This environment is nothing but where the source code will be implemented and it will be deployed into these servers. Dev environment, what are the activities they will do in dev environment? Basically, the namespace itself shows whenever the application is in development stage, okay, the application server will maintain all the source code of the developers. That is a development stage environment. Okay, when it comes to QAT, quality assurance testing will be done by the testers team. So here every feature or any, let's say, login page or any registration page or any friend request page or group creation or page creation, so these are all different features or the components. After developing, the quality team, testing team will be testing all these features thoroughly. Okay, whether this working fine or not. If we enter the correct username credentials, then only it should log into the application. If the user enters wrong credential, it should not log into the application. So all these scenarios, the QA team will be testing. All right. When it comes to UAT, okay, user acceptance testing. Okay, in the UAT, basically multiple end users will be testing the application whether the application is working as their expectation. Okay, as per their expectation. So all those things the end users will be testing the application. Now when it comes to the terminology part, end users or stakeholders, these are all some of the terminologies we can use in our daily IT life as a DevOps engineer. So when it comes to client, okay, who is the client here? From TCS and Facebook, anyone? Yeah, here Facebook. Yeah, so Facebook is the client here. Now TCS is the organization who is developing the Facebook application, right? Now end users in the sense those who are using the application, they are called as end users. For Facebook, normal Facebook account holders are the end users. For Instagram account holders are the end users, right? So the similar way, for any application, the end users will be using the application and they will be testing in the user acceptance testing. So in this stage, every stage is very important in the organization level to keep track of all the things. If any missing information or any something is missing from any environment, to make it as an independent environment, all these servers will be maintained separately, right? Then when it comes to production or live, okay, production is nothing but if the application is working fine in the UAT, it will be moving it into live in the sense when a new feature has been implemented, it is going through all these steps one by one. When the application is tested properly, then it will be moving it into live. Live in the sense it is available for all the end users, okay, in public domain. They will keep the application in public domain so that it is available for anyone in the globe according to their user base. So these are all some of the environments we have discussed. In deployment stage, basically the source code of the application will be deployed to these environments, and each and every stage they will be testing the application, right? So now after deployment, monitoring has to take place. Monitoring is, whether the application is up and running or not. If any applications goes down, basically manually they had to run the application and make sure the applications are up and running in the servers also. Otherwise the business might be there. So that is why they will maintain any DevOps engineers to monitor even some of these applications are up and running or not. Okay, so these are all some planning activities, like whenever the application comes to the organization, these are all steps they will do. Okay, so now when it comes to DevOps part, DevOps takes place in each and every stage of this, application development delivery. Okay, application delivery to the client, right? So now we will see what is meant by DevOps. Why the DevOps is needed? Basically, even DevOps, we have another, collaboration between another definition also. We can say collaboration between or communicating between development team and operations team in terms of delivering the working software to the client, right? In the fast-paced environment. So we will see what is meant by continuous integration. Okay, continuous delivery. So now let's say 4 developers are working in a team. Okay, developer 1, developer 2, developer 3. Let's say 4 developers are working in a team. Okay, right? Now everyone has written some of the lines of the code. Okay, what is meant by integration? So every time somebody has to do some of the integration of these lines of code, and this developer code and this developer code. Okay, some code they have written, right? Developers write some of the code. Okay, now after writing this code, what they will do, basically they has to integrate. If any manual, it will take a lot of time, and even putting a lot of efforts and time also, the integrated person might forget to do some of the things like here and there, and the application might not work even after putting this many efforts. So that is why the integration here takes place major role. What if that development team contains more than 10 people or 20 people? Let's say for bigger projects, even 150 developers also working in the team. So in that case, to do the manual integration, it is a very hectic task. Okay, it is a very impossible task to do. Even after keeping those many integration teams separately to integrate all this developers code, it might not work, basically. So that is why most of the things they has to do automatically. Okay, as soon as developer pushes the some of the code into the any of this repository. Okay, repository is nothing but it is a combination of a folder structure of source code. Okay, the repository contains what? Repository contains basically source code of the developer code, right? So to integrate all these things into a single unit. Okay, all the developers code into a single unit. the integration takes place. That is Jenkins, okay, or any other tools are also available. Fine. So Jenkins plays a major role to automatically integrate all the things as soon as the developer commits some code every day. So automatically the continuous integration takes place. Continuous integration is nothing but, it will integrate, it will combine all the developers code committed by the multiple developers into a single unit. Okay, that is called integration. Continuous means continuously, as soon as somebody pushed their code from Git from the local system, the Jenkins automatically takes a build. Okay, automatic build with integration. So here basically, the Jenkins or any other tool, TeamCity or Bamboo tools are also available for continuous integration, right? So this is meant by continuous integration from the development perspective. Now, when it comes to deployment or delivery, okay, so even after continuous integration is done, the feature has to be deployed into the multiple environments on the servers as we discussed earlier, right? Like a dev environment or a QAT, VAT, and finally the production environments. So to keep all those things, multiple servers, okay, they has to deploy in all those environments at the same time, okay, for testing purpose. So here, without continuous delivery, the client will not be able to test the application in the environments. Okay, so that is why continuous delivery also required along with the continuous integration. What if the continuous delivery is not happened? Okay, only continuous integration is done. The application will not go to the client place for the testing purpose, right? So they cannot move it into any other stages like from dev to QAT, QAT to UAT, UAT to production. So that is why continuous integration and continuous delivery also plays a major role in the DevOps engineering part. Now you might have understood what are the problems we face while doing the continuous integration, even in the continuous delivery. Okay, in the continuous integration, if they wanted to do manual integration, many of the resources, I mean technical resources should be available, while integrating multiple developers code into a single unit, like comparing the code whether this line is matching with this file or not. Okay, the same features has been implemented by some other developer or not. Okay, so all those things needs to be taken care by the manual technical integration team. So instead of using the manual integration team, the Jenkins automatically doing the continuous integration. That is the branching by using the branching concept or version control they will use for Git. Okay, so that is one of the problem, continuous integration and even continuous deployment or delivery also. Basically they wanted to deliver it to the multiple environments, they has to create one of the servers separately, and after creation of the server they has to deploy the application. After deployment also, the infrastructure they has to maintain, the server they has to maintain for deployment purpose. But with a simple cloud, they can deploy application in any of the cloud platform easily with one click. Okay, by clicking the button they can deploy the applications to the multiple environments also at the same time. So that's where the DevOps engineers and DevOps tools will be plays a major role in the process of delivering the working software to the client. Okay, now here operations team will be there. Okay, in the operations team they will deploy applications. What are the applications they will deploy? Whatever the applications they have been implemented. Okay, so maintaining the deployment groups, maintain the deployment groups, independent like dev qat qat, then what else, production environment, right? So all these environments mostly they will be having deployment servers. Deployment environment is nothing but it is a server as a placeholder or an infrastructure. The application or source code which has been implemented by the developers they will keep, right? So in each and every stage of this application also they can even test the application. So this is where operations team will be taking part, right? Even after testing the application they has to monitor monitoring activities, okay, whether the application is up and running, monitoring activities, application is up and running, okay. So these are all some uh, monitoring activities, application of running. So these are all the some of the activities they will be doing. So now we will see operations team, development team, what are the problems they might have normally, okay. Whenever the application is implemented, the development team will say, even they will do some of the unit testing, right? Like whether the login function is working fine or not after entering the right credentials, then they will deploy the code into Jenkins, okay. Then Jenkins servers operations team might be there. Now operations team will be waiting for the successful build as soon as the developer has pushed some of the changes, right? Committed some of the changes. So after committing the changes by the developer, the operations team takes care of the deployment parts and in the multiple environments, make sure that application is up and running in the monitoring Nagios tools they will be using. So some of the tools they will use for basically to implement all these activities, right? So to follow all these DevOps tools, Jenkins is the main role for maintaining the CI/CD pipelines, right? So we'll create some of the branches, we can say. Don't worry about the branches as of now, okay? Branches is nothing but, let's say for multiple developers, when they have a master branch repository is nothing but some multiple lines of code. Local branch one, we can say, right? Local branch one, local branch one, local branch 2, local branch 3, okay. So here local branches will be implemented for each and every developer's code, okay. So now whenever the local branch 1 has been committed, let's say into the repository, okay. Into the repository. Repository is nothing but it is a source code. I mean, code which is being developed by the developers. That is called as repository. Okay. So now local branch one has been created by the developer one. You don't worry about the branching concepts. We can discuss in normal general sessions detailed what is meant by repositories. What is the purpose of using repositories and master branch, why the master branch is needed, and local branch one, local branch two, version controls. When we discuss with the version controlling, we can discuss in branching concepts, right? So master branch one is the by default branch, we can say. On top of this, all the branches will be created. okay, based on the master branch. Now local branch 1 contains master branch data, local branch 2 also contains master data, local branch 3 also contains master data. Master data is nothing but this is the main repository. You can make it as a default repository. Okay, so it contains the latest code which has been implemented by all the developers. That is called as a master branch, we can say. Right now, when any local branch 1 developer 1 committed the code, what it contains basically master plus local branch 1 code, right? Local branch 1 code. So this is how the local branches will be having the data. Okay, even here local branch 2 data will be there.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So the local branch, it's not the same order, right? So the master we have the source code, and anybody can check out on. I mean, the local branch any person can be the first, right? Because it's since the code is not code depends on the functionality that you deliver, right? So anybody can check out in between, right? So it's not the order, right?
Yeah, yes, basically the master branch is the latest code. Everybody they will, yeah, yes,
Okay.
yeah. So now local branch 1 contains only local branch code only, local branch 2 contains only local branch 2 code only, local 3 also only local 3 code. Now when they push some of the code, they will commit into the repositories. Okay, they will be having master branch plus local branch 1 code separately, and this master branch 1 has to be integrated along with the master branch also, right? Local branch 1 along with master branch. So this integration part takes care automatically by the Jenkins tool, right? So then some of the iterations will be there to merge all this into a single unit. Okay, this we can call it as iteration branch. Iteration branch is nothing but, okay, for each and every sprint. Okay, don't worry about the sprints and all. We will discuss in detail about the agile methodology and waterfall methodology when we are discussing about software development lifecycle approaches. Okay, so iteration branch will be there. So the iteration branch will be created for each and every sprint. Okay, so now the iteration of branches contains all these master local branch plus local branch 2 local branch 3. Then they will be raising some of the pull request. Whenever they raise a pull request is nothing but any of the developer has committed some of the code. That code needs to be reviewed by some of the senior team members. Okay, so for reviewing purpose and merging it into master branch, they will create the pull request. That is the advantage of creation of the pull request. Okay, so you no need to worry about the pull request as of now at this stage. You just uh, uh, I mean, for merging purpose, they will use the pull request. So iteration branch contains all the local branches data, then along with the master branch. So now again the master branch after iteration one, let's say the after sprint one, iteration branch will be merging it into master branch. Now after once 2 weeks of the sprint, let's say the iteration branch will be merging it into master branch. Now the master branch again contains the iteration branch one which is been developed already in the last sprint. Okay, so that is how the recycling process will take care here. The master branch, how the local branches iteration branches will be merging, right? So now we'll discuss some of the software development lifecycle approaches when any project when they are implementing. Okay, we'll discuss some of the waterfall model. Then after waterfall model, we have Now every company is transforming their agile methodology. Okay, so we'll see what are the waterfall model basically. So in the waterfall model, when any application comes to the team, okay, project, they will have some of the different teams, like requirements gathering, then design, coding, testing, deployment. Okay, requirement gathering is the thing here. Then it comes to design, coding, testing, deployment. Okay, so now in the requirement gathering, design, coding, testing, deployment, basically, so all the team members will be divided into as per their technical expertise, right? In the requirement gathering, let's say 2 months of the requirement gathering they will take. What are the pages required? What are the menus? How the header footer looks like? Whether they need some of the logo in the web application or not. So all those things they will discuss in the requirement gathering, right? So now after coming to requirement gathering, when they are working requirement gathering team, other team members are sitting ideal. Okay, that is one of the drawback of this waterfall model methodology follow, right? This is a burden to the company. It is a cost effective also, right? So design team, when they are working, other team members also sitting ideal. So even again the same issue with the cost effective. Then even coding team, when the coding team is working, let's say 4-5 months or 6 months, if they work, other team members like requirement gathering, design, testing, deployment team will be sitting ideal. They don't have any work to do, right? So that is why nowadays companies are transforming their methodology in the software development lifecycle, in the application delivery, to agile methodology. What happens in agile methodology? Basically, they will be following some of the sprints. Okay, each and every sprint will contain 2 weeks of the time, 10 working days, let's say. Sprint 1, sprint 2, sprint 3, sprint 4. Okay, sprint 1, sprint 2, okay, sprint 3. So all these sprints they will maintain basically. Okay, so in each and every sprint, so here what is the duration of the sprint? 2 weeks. Okay, so every they will be having normal sprint. Okay. Yeah, can you go on mute, please? You're getting background noise. Yeah, so here sprint 1 basically they will be having some of the 2 weeks of the span, right? So after 2 weeks of the span, they will be delivering some of the working software to the client. Now there are many advantages in agile methodology, like client communication is mandatory. Every 2 weeks of the sprint they will be presenting the working software, working feature whichever they have been implemented in the current sprint. So that is the client satisfaction is the utmost priority they will be getting, right? If any reviewing of the code, even that can be moved into the further next upcoming sprint, so that that can be reworked, right? So now in agile methodology, there are many advantages, like, client delivery is happening at a proper time, and communication of the team is also happening in the daily activities based on the small activities. Kishore, Kishore, can you please go on mute?
Sorry, I muted myself.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. Okay. So now in each and every sprint, basically they will be having some of the activities. So that activities they will do for each and every sprint. One is the daily scrum. Okay. One is the sprint planning. Another one is sprint retrospective. Sprint retrospective, we can say, right? Now in the daily scrum, basically they will be having daily activities, like what are the work items they are working on, what is the status of the work items, so that they are able to progress on the assigned task. If they need any of the, you know any uh, help related to the training, or related to the domain, or related to the technology, okay, so anything they can be addressed in the daily scrum. Okay, daily scrum is a platform where they will communicate with each and every team members about their status of the work items which has been assigned to them. Okay, so that is the activity of a daily scrum here. Now when it comes to sprint planning, okay, sprint planning is nothing but they will plan the current sprint item. Okay, the sprint planning will be happening at the starting day of the sprint. Now what based on their available resources, okay, they will be discussing what are the important features that needs to be delivered to the client. According to that, they will plan the sprint, and they will estimate the work items also, whether they can deliver this these features in the current sprint, or it will be a, you know uh, spillover or something like that. Spillover is nothing but if they could not deliver any of the work items in the current sprint, that will be moved to the next sprint. That is called as a spillover. Some of the technical terminologies you might be not knowing, but you will be getting familiar with these words in the general sessions once you go. Coming to sprint retrospective meeting, in the retrospective, basically at the end of the sprint, it will be happening. The what went good and what went wrong, is there any improvements needed further for the, estimated plan. According to the estimated, if any of the work items is not been completed in the current sprint, they will discuss why it was not delivered properly. Okay, due to some lack of a requirement, or lack of technical expertise, or lack of domain knowledge, something else. Accordingly, they will be given some knowledge sharing sessions to the team members, right? So by maintaining all these activities, the team maintaining transparency and accuracy of the, delivery to the client, then communicating with the team every week, every completion of the sprint, and they will be presenting the working software to the client here. Now in the waterfall model, when we compare, the working software is not delivered, until the completion of the deployment. Okay, so all the features has been deployed in 1 year, then they will be giving the presentation or get demos to the client at the end of the year. Let's say client doesn't have any satisfaction of the implemented features, so all these efforts has gone vain. So that is why the sprint methodology, every end of the sprint, they will be presenting the application to the end users, so that they will be giving some of the reviews whether the application is good or not. Okay, is there any modifications required for the application, so that they can rework on the upcoming sprints. Okay, as per the prioritization of the task. So some of the advantages over using agile methodology, perspective of client side and even from organization level. So in the waterfall model, basically, when the requirement gathering team is working, other teams are setting idea. Now the communication gap between becomes more. Due to this, the delivery also, the delivery of the application also becomes difficult, right? What if the developer understood something and design team and requirement team, doesn't explain the proper requirement to the development team? So that's where the communication gap takes place, even for the company side and for client side also, right? From the company side perspective, if we take, okay, if they wanted to have a daily communication, they can easily overcome all these problems even while implementing the application features, right? Now, even cost effective also. In agile methodology, no team is working separately. Everybody is doing independently and working together. Okay, if they have any concerns, they can address their concerns in the same sprint daily scrum activities as we discussed. Okay, so here even iterations also will be maintained. Iterations is nothing but sprint one also or iteration one they can maintain, right? So each and every iteration will be having some of the different kinds of sprints again. So to maintain these different steps, they need to have some tools to be implemented. So that is why the DevOps plays a major role here. Okay, we will discuss what are the some DevOps tools will be available in the market. Fine. One is Git. Okay. Two is Jira. Three is for Jenkins. Okay. Then what else tools are there? Navigation, configuration management, Docker, Kubernetes. So all these different tools will be available, right? Git is for maintaining the versioning control system. All the developers, they can commit their code into the remote repository from their local system to the remote repository. Okay, that is the purpose of the Git here. And when it comes to Jira, it is a bug tracking tool. Bug tracking in the sense, when they have any of the work items to be assigned, whether their work item is progressing or not, whether it is done or not. So all those activities and discussions they can track by using the Jira tool. Okay. So Jenkins, there is another tool where continuous integration and continuous delivery can be happened in the Jenkins builds and all. In the Docker or containerization, the application can be extracted out of image, then they will be sending it into the mainly servers. So all those things can be happened at the multiple stages in the different kinds of environments. Okay, Docker, Kubernetes and all. So even in Git, Jira, Jenkins, Docker, there are multiple tools are available in the outside replacement of all the servers. So we're not going into detail about those other alternatives replacement for this. But in Azure DevOps, basically we have Git integration, Jira integration, Jenkins automatic integration, then Docker Kubernetes integration services we can use with Azure DevOps integration tool only. Okay, that is, I will walk you through how the Azure DevOps looks like. Okay, when you go to any of the project, we have project settings. We can create our own project. Okay, like even we can make public project or private project. This is how the Azure DevOps. When we go to dev.azure.com, okay, boards will be maintained. Boards is the replacement of Jira. Okay, Jira, instead of in terms of maintaining the work items, you can create our own work items. Boards you can see here. Okay, recently updated new. These are all the some of the work items like We can create either bug or epic or any feature or any test case like this. Based on the bug or epic feature, we can discuss in detail about all these work items, why these many work items are there, what is the purpose of being creation of these work items and all, right? Now open inquiries, so all these things you can create. Let's say if I want to create any of the work item here, this is very graphical user interface, very easy to interact, very easy to work. Okay, now login page, you can say. Login page creation I'm taking, then demo generator one, areas also you can implement. As I said, sprint 1, sprint 3, any of this work item you can assign it. Then reproduction steps, let's say any of the bug is creation, then they has to maintain the reproduction steps, like by following these steps the bug is reproduction. Now we will see system information, even some descriptions will be there. You can discuss with the team members based on the priority, you can mention here. Okay, efforts, remaining work items, so all this even work item you can link here, okay, to this development related work items. So this is how even the boards, this is the replacement of Jira, all the features will be integrated here. When it comes to repositories, okay, the source files will be source code of the developers implemented, that will be shown in the repositories. Okay, even commits, you can see what are the commits are done by the commit message. This is the commit message, updated steps to deploy website, then added 2 files, deleted updated 2.png file, then commit message will be generated by Azure DevOps automatically. This is the author, means this particular commit has been committed by whom and date and time. So why the Azure DevOps maintaining all these things? Basically to track the things. Let's say if any project manager wanted to see how many things, how many commits the developer has been committed, they will go through this commits and all, right? When it comes to pull request, okay, when pull request plays a major role for a branch merging to the master branch, iteration branch to the master branch, or local branches to the master branch, pull request will place major roles. When it comes to pipelines, basically, as I said, continuous integration or continuous deployment or continuous delivery pipeline, we can create our own pipeline, then we can maintain the pipelines, automatically trigger as soon as it detects any of the changes in the source code. That is the beautiful concept of pipeline here. And deployment groups for the multiple environments at the same time, you can deploy the application. Even Selenium continuous testing application, we can integrate the Selenium application to the servers, this Azure DevOps server basically. Okay, so to continuous integration or continuous deployment, continuous testing, we can integrate all the tools with the Azure DevOps. Okay, now when it comes to artifacts is nothing but as soon as the build done, it will generate some of the files, reusable files or DLLs or exe files that can be shared among the team members. That is the beautiful concept of artifacts. So this Azure DevOps is a simple, easy to work. Is there any complexities is not required, even by any layman or unknown person also can work with this Azure DevOps. So that is the different features, or what are the tasks that we can do in the Azure DevOps application. Now when it comes to all the tools, right, instead of using Git, Jira, Jenkins separately, even for project managers to create the burn down charts and burn up charts, they will be having some of the Tra.io and Visio tools, even that can be maintained in the Azure DevOps tool only, right? So that is a beautiful tool, all the features integrated into a single unit application, that is Azure DevOps. Now we will see what are the different cloud platforms are available. other than the Azure DevOps. Okay, now AWS, Amazon Web Services are available, and Google Cloud Services are available. Instead of using Azure DevOps, we can go with AWS or GCP also, but the time and the features will be different. When we go to AWS, multiple tools like Git, Jira, Jenkins, separate tools, we need to learn the things, okay, when you want to go with AWS. But with Azure DevOps, we have all the things integrated into a single unit application, so it is very easy to handle the application in a single environment. So that is the Azure DevOps application. Now the Azure DevOps is the Microsoft product. Basically, it was implemented in 2010 in the market. Now 20% of the market base, they have 40 plus geographical locations also they will be maintaining, and it is one of the rapid growth market for the Azure DevOps in the market as of now. And the features are you know demand in the market for DevOps tools is basically, as long as the application, as long as the IT applications are maintained, okay, so the DevOps is needed for the maintenance of the servers, even for the continuous integration, continuous delivery of the working software to the end users. Okay, now we will see what are the job offers they can get in the as a DevOps engineers. Basically, normal prerequisites to learn this DevOps or any Azure DevOps is there is no coding or programming language is required. Okay, and when it comes to communication purpose, only the basic language of English is necessary. Okay, to understand the terminology, to understand and to communicate with the team members or uh, any other organization members in the companies. Okay, so just basic communication is necessary to maintain all the communication purpose, and to even to make the documents available, to read the things in the Azure DevOps application, we need some of the basic English command. Okay, apart from that, there is no command is required, like any technical expertise or any programming language expertise, nothing is required. Fine. So I hope you guys understood something. Then what is meant by DevOps in this session? We have discussed uh, what is the DevOps, what is meant by continuous integration and continuous delivery in terms of multiple teams working together, and what is the purpose of even continuous integration, what are the problems it will solve. DevOps basically. Okay, after after overcoming all these problems, the DevOps tools plays a major role in project planning, in starting from the application planning to till the delivery of the application, like maintaining the resources, creation of the work items. Then after creation of the work items, you need to assign. Then after assigning the work items, you need to merge the local branch to the iteration branches. Then master branch automatically Git version controls takes place. The branching concepts will comes under this. Then agile methodology. Agile, as we discussed, there are multiple sprints will be maintained. According to the sprints, they will be having sprint boards also in the Azure DevOps. Okay, yeah, and we have discussed some of the other cloud platforms and prerequisites to learn the DevOps tools. What is the demand in the uh, market for the DevOps engineers, and what else? Okay, anybody has any queries, comments?
Krishna, what is the role of a DevOps engineer in the project? I mean, when you enter yourself as a DevOps engineer, so your task would be to have to to learn all these technologies like Git, Jira, Jenkins, Docker, and Kubernates. When you become a DevOps engineer.
Yeah, yes. So to learn all this Git, Jira, Jenkins, even in the training sessions we will be learning all these things, but when you go to the organization, you will be given some pieces of the code. Okay, whether that will be in Jira, whether only in Jenkins, or only in Docker, or only in Kubernetes. So you cannot expect everything to you can work on the organization level. So it depends on the organization to organization.
Okay, my basic question, sorry, my question about like, we need to understand from the database community to the background. I know the concept, but I never worked in the full domain. I work programming language like CoreJava, language. So if I want to work as a Docker engineer, so what should I know? And that's kind of if I want to work with Docker, I mean, especially learning Docker. Do I need to learn any programming language to do the Docker?
Actually, I'm not getting your voice clearly. I think there is some.
Is it audible now? Is it audible now? Is it audible?
Hello.
Are you able to hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, do you need any coding language or now the only the code which is written in the from the Git or the Jenkins?
No, could you please rejoin? Basically, I'm not able to hear.
One. Are you able to hear me?
Hello. Hello.
Yeah, are you able to hear me?
Yeah. Yes.
No, I mean, do you need any programming language in order to perform the daily tasks for as a DevOps engineer?
So for DevOps engineers, programming language is not required. Okay. But when it comes to programming languages requirement, the developers will be working. We don't need to bother about what technology they are using under.
Okay. So your job is to make the code and all, and like to check out
You are
and
using, I think, loudspeaker, so we are getting echo also.
I'm sorry.
Any doubts?
Krishna, what are the certifications we need to do to become a DevOps engineer?
So as a DevOps engineer, you should be aware of all the tools which are available and which will be used in the DevOps tools like Git, Jira, Jenkins, Docker, Kubernetes. So these are all mandatory tools for everyone. Okay. Apart from this, Maven, Nagios, so there are other tools also available. Anything else? Anyone has queries?
No, Krishna, I didn't get that one. What are the certifications required to come in for the DevOps engineer?
So as per my knowledge, certification is not mandatory for every organization. Okay. even we can cover AZ 400 certification in the sessions. I think HRs will send a content to you, AZ 400. So once we complete this course, even you can write AZ 400 Azure DevOps in the certification. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Krishna.
Do we have offline class also?
That you have to check with HR. I'm not sure.
So no offline.
Yeah.
Okay.
Krishna, is it like every day this time, around this time?
Hello.
Hello.
Tell me.
What are the class time, Krishna?
Actually, we are not able to hear your voice clearly. I think you are using loudspeaker, so.
No, I'm not using a loudspeaker.
Okay.
Is it audible now?
Yeah.
Yeah. May I know like what are the class timings?
Class timings 9 to 10. Okay. Morning 9 to 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
9. Okay.
Hello.
Anything else? Yeah.
Sir, good morning, sir.
Yeah. Good morning.
So my question is, what is the combination of Azure and DevOps? Why we need to take the both combinations, sir?
See, basically, to creation of the virtual machines, okay, ready-made available virtual machines, the Microsoft product has implemented the beautiful application. Okay, when it comes to AWS, there is a separate Jenkins tool, there is a separate Jira tool they have to use. Okay, but in Azure DevOps, automatically the Jira is not required. Boards is for the replacement of Jira. Okay, Jenkins is not required. Pipelines is the replacement of Jenkins. So that is how the beautiful application has been designed. Whatever the, even for continuous testing, Selenium separately, Selenium developers they will do, right, for testing the application. But here we can integrate the Selenium with Azure DevOps. That is the advantage of using Azure DevOps actually.
One more question, sir.
Yeah.
For the first beginners, which one is the best? AWS is or Azure? Which one is?
See, anything is fine, but Azure DevOps is basically 45 to 60 days course. Okay, if you consider daily 1 hour. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Then for AWS minimum 3 months it will take. So as the entry level, if you wanted to enter into the IT market as soon as possible, you can decide according to your choice, whether you wanted to continuously learning the things, or if you want to join the organization under. So that is up to you.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Anybody has any queries? Okay, fine, then we'll wind up the session today. Thanks for joining. Have a nice day. Yeah.